What is social engineering? Social engineering is a manipulation technique used by individuals, often cybercriminals, to exploit human psychology and trust to gain unauthorized access to sensitive information, systems, or facilities. It relies on manipulating people into performing actions or revealing confidential information rather than directly hacking into computer systems or networks. Social engineers prey on human vulnerabilities such as emotions, curiosity, fear, or the natural tendency to trust others. Common social engineering tactics include phishing, sending fraudulent emails or messages disguised as legitimate ones, often with malicious links or attachments, aiming to trick recipients into revealing sensitive information or installing malware. Pretexting, creating a fictional scenario or pretending to be someone else to gain trust and acquire personal or sensitive information. Baiting, luring victims with promises of free items or services, encouraging them to divulge sensitive information or download malware. Tailgating, gaining unauthorized access to restricted areas by following unauthorized personnel closely, exploiting their trust or politeness. Quid pro quo, offering a service or assistance in exchange for sensitive information or access. To protect against social engineering, it's crucial to be aware of these tactics and practice good cybersecurity hygiene, such as using strong passwords, being cautious with email attachments, and verifying the identity of people requesting sensitive information. Are there any benefits to social engineering? All the articles I see are about the dangers. While the term social engineering is usually associated with negative connotations due to its common usage in the context of cybersecurity and malicious intent, it's possible to view certain aspects of it in a positive light when used ethically and responsibly. Here are a few potential benefits. Education and awareness training. Understanding social engineering tactics can be used to educate individuals and organizations about potential threats. This can help in developing more effective security protocols, fostering a culture of caution, and training individuals to recognize and respond to potential threats. Penetration testing. Ethical hackers or cybersecurity professionals often use social engineering tactics to test an organization's security. This form of testing, known as penetration testing or pen testing, can help identify vulnerabilities so they can be addressed before a malicious actor can exploit them. Social influence and change. Social engineering techniques can be used by government entities, nonprofit organizations, or even corporations to promote positive behavioral changes, such as encouraging healthy habits, promoting energy conservation, or dissuading harmful behaviors. User experience design. Understanding the principles of social engineering can be beneficial in designing systems and interfaces that are intuitive and user-friendly by leveraging our natural behaviors and responses. Marketing and sales. Many marketing strategies employ principles similar to social engineering. For example, creating a sense of urgency or exclusivity can convince customers to purchase a product or service. Even when used with good intentions, these techniques can be manipulative and should be used responsibly, transparently, and with respect for individuals' autonomy and privacy. Social engineering encompasses various manipulation techniques to trick users and steal their personal information, money, login credentials, and more. At the core of social engineering is exploiting people's good intentions and human faults, which is why a successful attack requires an understanding of human psychology. Social engineering attacks use human interaction to deceive targets. Both individual users and organizations are tempting targets for social engineering attacks. Employees of large companies and organizations are often targeted by social engineers to gain access to confidential business information, computer systems, and other valuable assets. A single mistake can expose the entire organization to attacks, so employee training and cyber awareness education are needed to protect the whole organization. Most social engineering attacks follow a similar pattern: identifying the victim and gathering information about them, approaching the victim under a false identity and a made-up narrative, executing the attack after gaining the victim's trust, ending the attack, and cleaning up traces that could get the attacker caught. The goals of social engineering attacks include gaining access to confidential information, directing the user to malicious websites, getting the victim to download a virus or send money to the attacker. To get their victims to do as they please, social engineers often claim to be someone the victim trusts. This can be their boss, a governmental entity, or someone the victim knows in real life. Some social engineering attacks are used to gain access to a physical device or the targeted organization's premise. Often, social engineers rely on a sense of urgency so that the targets do not have time to think. Criminals can also threaten or blackmail the victim to do as they are told. Social engineering attacks are often well-planned scams. The attacker can gather information about their victim before making their first contact. The attacks can also target many victims simultaneously. Because all social engineering techniques rely heavily on people behaving in a predictable manner, social engineering has been referred to as human hacking. By pulling the right strings, online criminals and scammers can make their victims do things that most would consider unlikely, until they become a victim themselves. Because social engineering relies on human error, attacks cannot be prevented only by fixing errors in software. Luckily, individual users and organizations can do a lot to stop a social engineering attack. Use multi-factor authentication to protect your accounts. Do not click suspicious links or download sketchy files. Ensure the recipient's identity before giving away sensitive information. Never tell others your user credentials such as passwords or verification codes. Do not connect physical media to your device if you are not sure of its origins. Be suspicious of unprompted offers, especially if they seem too good to be true. If there are children in your household, educate them about cybersecurity and best practices for using the internet. Be careful what you reveal on social media, as your accounts can be mined for information used to manipulate you. Use a secure VPN when using public Wi-Fi networks. Restrict admin rights to limit who can make changes to the network settings or install new applications. Baiting often involves some kind of physical media that is infected with malware, such as a flash drive or a CD. What are the top 7 social engineering red flags? Check who it's from. If you don't recognize the sender or domain. The email is sent from a familiar contact but contains unusual content. You were CC'd on an email but don't recognize the other recipients. The email was sent to an unusual mix of people. Hover over links before you click on them to confirm the domain. Don't just assume that an email that says it's from your bank is actually from your bank. Make sure you check every individual character and make sure that an I isn't an L or something else really fishy like that. Okay, what was the email subject? The subject line is irrelevant. Doesn't have anything to do with the message content. So, okay, the email contains compromising, threatening, or exploitative content. There's multiple spelling and grammar errors or illogical sentences. You received a routine email, but far outside normal business hours. There's an unexpected or suspicious attachment in the email. Definitely don't open it. If it's a .exe, do not run that file. If you don't trust the sender, do not open that exe. And don't respond to those emails either if you don't recognize them. All right, social engineering has been trending, and it's good to know about it because if you don't, then you're at risk for social engineering attacks, such as phishing attacks, vishing, using a voice or an impersonation of someone's voice to scam you. So watch out. There's this website called Security Through Education, and it says 90% of people they asked will provide not just the spelling of their names, but their email addresses without confirming their identity. 2/3 or more of the people they asked will give out social security numbers, birth dates, or employee numbers, and 100% success ratio in physical breaches. Basically, what they're saying is educate yourself and do not just trust someone that calls you asking for money, and if they sound like someone that you know, do not just believe it right off the bat. Be suspicious. Here's some awesome infographics that you can find online about social engineering. This one includes some statistics. Almost all of your email is spam and viruses, so don't waste your time. This is why people make such a big deal out of their personal information being sold, like Facebook going to court and stuff and having to speak upon the issue of social engineering.